Hey guys, welcome to On The Board Podcast. My name is Francis Emukule, and today I'm again back with the first that needs no introduction. Pastor Sempa today is very annoyed.
Yes, I am. Nawangwe must go.
Pastor Sempa is very annoyed, and it's been something that it needs no knowledge. I mean, it needs no introduction for everyone because Pastor Sempa has been on his social media platforms pushing for the agenda for Nawangwe to go. And I'm very happy that you've given me this opportunity to understand exactly why you think Nawangwe must go. For those of you that do not know who Nawangwe is currently the Vice-Chancellor of Makerere University, which is one of the biggest universities in Africa and also in Uganda. So, Pastor Sempa, why are you annoyed and why do you want Nawangwe to go?
I think that I will summarize my issues. One, the university that we used to know is not the university that it is. There's a perception and then there's a reality. The perception, most people know that the great Makerere is still great. The reality is what was once a great Makerere has diminished, decayed to the point that where it is today, it's not even fit to be called a high school. It is not even fit to compete with a secondary school. And there is two major problems. One, it's a policy that was imposed on Makerere by the World Bank back in 1990-91 when I was a student in Makerere University. We protested the privatization, turning the university into a profit-making venture because we could not afford it. It's not realistic of our economic situation. It was not a policy that was brought together by parliament or by the government. It was imposed upon us by the World Bank as a precondition for providing financial services to Uganda's NRM government. We protested against this. So, number one is a huge problem of turning the university into a for-profit making venture. Education is for common good. It's for the good of the people. It's been 30 years of this policy, and what I see, our university has been reduced into an urban ghetto. It became clear to me 5 years ago, whenever I would walk in the university, I ask young people, what are your top 5 problems at the university? And consistently, number 1, hunger. Number 2, financial distress. Always. And then number 3, issues having to do with welfare, issues having to do with drugs and others. And academics were number 4, number 5 or 6. So I kept asking, what is the problem? What is going on? But when I saw in October of this year that students were protesting and they were saying, Nawangwe must go, we need our money, I began to engage fully. I began meeting with them. I began asking questions like any intellectual person would. I got to discover that yes, we have 2 problems. The privatization of the university, turning it into a business, and then the administration, the current administration of the university, which is unconscious, which is dictatorial, which has taken a bad situation and used it for personal good. You see, these people have jobs. Nawangwe has his job and his people, they have their jobs, they are making money. Unfortunately, that university is not preparing leaders well for the future. No, it is not. So because of those 2 things, I have become aware of the incredible number of anomalies, administrative abuse, oppression, closing down our church, which provided a lot of social services to that university. Okay, prime time at the pool. It was closed down by Mr. Nawangwe. And so it's taken me the last 2-3 years since COVID ended. We wanted our church to reopen and they refused that. They kept playing us. I presented the law for them. They kept playing us. So I realize I'm one of the hundreds and thousands of people who are in distress Makerere is not what it used to be. Instead of an island of intellectuals in our city of Kampala, it is an urban refugee camp. Women, young girls, have begun selling themselves into prostitution to be able to survive because they are hungry. Makerere University recently a report came out that was teaching courses that were not mandated or authorized because they were not verified. The professors at the university are fired, suspended for the smallest thing. The university runs like a military camp. And you see, in that context, I used to hear students say, Nawangwe must go, Nawangwe. And I'm like, why are you personalizing the thing to just one person? And I would say, these students, they are also what? Funny. University students, they are, ambitious, anti-establishment. But I've come to realize that Nawangwe must go is not the cry of students who are hungry, who are suspended for pointing out policy reforms that are necessary, whose campaigns have been reduced to some kind of caricature of an election from what used to be...
You mean electoral campaigns?
Electoral campaigns. It is Nawangwe must go is also the cry of pastors like me, whose churches have been closed down.
What was the reason for closing down?
I'm going to come to that. But Nawangwe must go is the cry of professors and intellectual leaders who have been suspended, dismissed, frustrated because of Mr. Nawangwe, who's running that university more like a military high school, militarized camp. So I tried, and it took 2 years or 3 years for me to talk nicely like a pastor, Mr. Nawangwe, what do we do, and this and that. I realized after 2 years, he would say, write a petition, send a petition to the university council, and then we'd meet 3 months later. Did you sit on the petition? No, we didn't have time. But next time, the council will sit 4 months later. And I'm like, maybe this is a genuine person. After about 1.5 years, I realized it was taking me around what? Circles.
Okay.
So the church was closed down because they deemed our born-again church, which had been there for about 25 years, meeting in the School of Veterinary Medicine, that we are illegitimate. That according to their constitution and practice, they only recognize 3 religious groups: Roman Catholics, Anglicans, and Muslims. And they didn't know about us. So I brought the issue to them that according to the census, even the recent one, the born-again Pentecostals are 14.5%. 14.5%. We are the 3rd largest minority. We're a religious minority. And the Constitution recognizes and says, there was a distribution of public good. But let me just go back. The Constitution says the right to freedom of worship is a fundamental right.
Fundamental right, yes.
You cannot therefore discriminate. That's another law of the Constitution. So Nawangwe cannot allow Catholics to have part of the public land, Anglicans and Muslims, and have a chaplaincy, and refuse to provide the same for the born-agains. So that's why I took him to the Equal Opportunity Court, because it was discriminatory. And when he saw that the court was really moving against them and there was bad public relations, they called us out and said, let's have a chat. Let's have a mediation. The court gave us 60 days to mediate. They decided to stretch it out like almost a year. And then at the end of that, they said, okay, we will give you the land. We will do justice for you. But we'll start off by offering you a place where different denominations can pray. I said, look, we want a chaplaincy, but we can start with whatever you give to us. But even the little that they were going to give to us, Nawangwe turned around and cancelled what the University Council had decided. The University Council decided to provide us a place. But Nawangwe, in his selfishness, and I don't know why, he said, no, we will not give anything to you. We will wait for the parliament to make another law regulating religions. Now, if it was going to suspend all the other religious groups until a new law is made, that would be understood. But he did not. He kept providing space for the chaplaincy of the Anglican, the chaplaincy of the Catholic and the Muslim, and kept denying and closed down, suppressing the right and the freedom of worship for born again. Nawangwe thinks that we are children of a lesser God. Now, he made me angry. He made me annoyed. Because you see, at a certain point, a man can be reasonable. We sit on the table and we work out issues. For me as a leader, in my leadership style, if we have an issue, we sit down.
And talk.
Francis, we talk it through like gentlemen. But if you emerge after 2 years of being unreasonable, denying what the Constitution guarantees for us, then we realize that there's something wrong with this man.
So it's now personal.
So no, it's not personal. By the way, personal is also political. It's administrative. It's a fight. So then look, I am trained in the great Makerere. I'm not trained in this less Makerere. This is a high school. My professors who taught me, Professor Mahmoud Mamdani, Professor Dungu, Professor Nsibambi, look, I had my generation, we never woke up worrying where we're going to get food. We never woke up worrying what is going to happen. We actually we experienced the best. So when I see the current status of my university, the way that it is, and the fact that I was trained in political science, you need to know me better. People don't know me. My first degree is in political science and political sociology. I was trained by professors out of Makerere University who had gone to school in the University of Dar es Salaam. They taught us to be rigorous. They taught us to be fierce intellectuals. They told us that a black man is equal or even better than a white man. They told us never to be afraid, whether someone is from heaven or whatever. No, they told us to stand our ground. And so if Nawangwe wants to have a fight, I'm ready for it. So the first thing that I did was to do homework. Who is Mr. Nawangwe? What are his qualifications? And guess what I found out? Apart from the fact that Nawangwe has a record of messing up our university, I've come to the understanding that Mr. Nawangwe does not have the papers. Nawangwe does not have the qualifications to be called a professor.
So he's a crook.
Nawangwe is a fake. He's a mufere. He does not have the papers to be called a professor. And in fact, what I would like everybody to know, those of you who have been at Makerere, those of you who have children at Makerere, those of you who are members of the convocation, you need to know we have an illegitimate person on the highest office of our greatest university. And I'm going to show you evidence. Because I'm a researcher. Francis, I need you to know, I have fought battles. I have fought with Barack Obama. I have fought this LGBTQ. We won a constitutional petition. I am the first person to ever ask the Constitutional Court to represent the country because I did not believe that the Attorney General was objective enough to defend the Anti-Homosexuality Act. And I presented my evidence, you remember just recently, and I won. I am rigorous because I was trained so. I was trained by my professors, and they would not want me to be quiet. So I want to let you know.
But Pastor, before you go there,
I
have a question. So clearly you've given us a trajectory of what is actually wrong with Makerere University, right from the privatization and then the leadership that you're questioning heavily, and that which has led the university and the students at large, to suffer in terms of lack of food. Some have ended up in prostitution and stuff like that. Now with this evidence that the person that is leading the university is actually not qualified enough to do that, do you think by unearthing this kind of information, the problems you've identified will be solved?
I think the first thing we need to do is to get information out. When people need to solve a problem, the first thing is you need to know the subject well. Because you always want to know, how do we solve it? If you don't solve it well, Like for me, I've given it 2 key points. Number 1, we need to change the turning of the university into a private income generating business. Number 2, the current administration of Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe is an illegitimate, it is abusive, and it is incompetent. And I want to show you and give you evidence why this university is abusive. Let me have this whiteboard, please, so that I can show you why this university is incompetent. Now, I want to share with you that Mr. Nawangwe does not have the qualifications to be called a professor. Why? Because Mr. Nawangwe, I have come to discover, does not have the papers. Say papers. Taina mpapula. Mr. Nawangwe, taina chi? Taina mpapula. I've done my homework and I've discovered that we have an academic fraud. Mr. Nawangwe is a Mufere professor. And I've stopped referring to him as a professor because it doesn't take what it takes to be called what? A professor. Now ask me, what does it take to be a professor?
What does it take to be a professor?
Very good. There is 3, I want to show you over here. There's 3 authorities that I want to show you. Number 1, the National Council for Higher Education. This is a statute. Okay? I have it over here. And I'm going to read it for you so that you can be able to see. This is a statutory instrument, year 2010, number 50. Okay? This is it. This is a statutory instrument concerning universities and other tertiary institutions concerning the awarding of degrees, honorable degrees, and academic titles. You don't just wake up one day and you say that I'm a professor.
I'm a professor.
Now, when you open this, it shows you to be a professor over here and be PhD. You may not see it right here. It says to be a professor, PhD, you must have meritorious teaching experience of 7 to 15 years. You must have published at least 2 internationally recognized books with a reputable publishing house. Number 3, you must have published at least 10 good articles. Now, we're not just talking about writing, like writing a new vision. No, we're talking about peer-reviewed articles or publications which are published in a professional journal.
Now, for someone that does not know, what does peer-reviewed articles mean?
I'm going to come up to that. Okay, peer-reviewed is where you have you write a paper, a research. You do a research. For example, I'm doing research on whether media, whatever subject, or because his area is construction. Architecture. So, an area of architecture, I write a paper, let's say bamboo construction as a new way of doing things, okay? And how to use bamboo for construction. Then after I've written my 10 ideas, then I submit it to professors in the area of construction and architecture and bamboo and wood and stuff. Then they read it. Then they can say, okay, change this, add this, read more information here, improve. Then you improve it. Then you give it back again. Then they can say, no, now it is what? It is good. It is adding to the body of knowledge. Then you take that paper and you submit it to what is called a journal.
Or a renowned publisher.
A renowned publisher. I'm going to talk to you about Mr. Nawangwe's paper. I have his CV. For research, just so you know, I have Professor Barnabas Nawangwe's CV. I have his CV over here, okay, which I extracted. It's a publicly, it's a public document.
Yeah, it's all over the internet.
Okay, it's all over the internet. And then if you look, he presented this when he was applying to be a Vice-Chancellor. And then he talks about his personal information, profile, academic qualifications, and others. By the way, he went to Ukraine.
That's where he attended.
Yeah, that's where he went. He went to Ukraine, and where the war is in the former Soviet Union. But over here in 19.0, he has his publications at page 51. I'm going to bring you to them, and I'm going to show you that Mr. Nawangwe's papers do not qualify for this. So to become if you want to become a professor, you must have 10 peer-reviewed articles and 2 books
Published.
by a reputable publisher. 2 books and 10 articles. The second area that I want to refer to is the Makerere University policy. This is their human resource manual. Again, they are like, who can be a professor? Who can be an associate professor? Now, I happen to have that. I extracted it, and I want to show it to you. This was the statute. I showed it to you. Now, I'm going to show you
Human resource manual.
human resource manual of what it requires, okay? Minimum requirement and qualifications to be a professor, okay? That is a fellow or a professor, or even a library staff. So when you look at this, to be a professor in Makerere University, and then the vetting, I want to bring it up to you. Let me just put it over. I'd put it down nicely over here on my paper here, on my gathering of evidence. Okay. Now, to be a professor, in order to be promoted to the position of a professor, a candidate should have PhD in relevant discipline, 10 years of actual teaching experience, supervision of 8 graduate students, in exceptional, if you have no PhD, supervising at least 2 masters and 1 PhD. Now, this is on teaching experience. Now, when we come to publications on ordinary tracks, Nawangwe is on publication of ordinary track. To become a senior lecturer, you must have published a book, shall be equivalent to 3. Applicants must provide evidence that his chapter was independently peer-reviewed by another editor. Then from lecturer, you become a professor. To be a professor, you must have 4 new recognized publications in the area of your specialization. You should be the first author of at least 2 publications. An international recognized scholarly award in 3 journal publications. That is associate. Now, full professor. You must have 5 newly recognized publications in the area of specialization. You should be the first author of at least 3 publications. International recognized award can be 3 journals. A published book shall be equivalent to 3 journals. The chapter was independent. There should be evidence. And then, quite key, we're talking about recognized journal articles shall meet the established quality criteria, unbiased, peer-reviewed, scientific merit. Peer-reviewed refers to journals, articles written by experts, reviewed by several other experts in the field before the article is published in the journal in order to ensure the quality of the article's quality. Before it is what?
It's published, yes.
Now, Nawangwe, when you look at his CV, which you are going to see, what he submitted conference papers, workshop reports, conference proceedings, and pamphlets, not published by a reputable publishing house. But here it says, Makerere Manual says, peer-reviewed scholarly journals are articles written by experts, I've done that, working papers and conference proceedings shall not be considered journal articles as they are still a work in progress. Let me say it again. Working papers and conference proceedings shall not be considered journal articles as they work in progress. So, to go back, you need 10 and 2. Makerere asks 10 papers. And then also 2
books.
2 books. Now, then the Makerere University call for the VC qualifications.
The advert call.
The advert call. I want to show that one to you.
Do you have it there?
You have a copy. Yeah, I have a copy over here. I'm also going to show it to you. When the advert was made to bring a vice-chancellor at Makerere, it ran in the New Vision, April 12th or 13th, 2017.
Yes.
Okay? Now, amongst the requirements for one to be eligible, it says that you must at least 5 years teaching experience at the rank of associate professor or equivalent in a reputable institution with excellent track record of research over at least 10 peer-reviewed publications. Okay, so this is the advert. I want to show you that Makerere required over here 10 peer-reviewed publications. Nawangwe does not have these. Nawangwe does not have these. Nawangwe does not have this. And I'm going to prove it to you. Because this is now the source of the illegitimacy at Makerere. What have I done? Number one, I've looked at Mr. Nawangwe's CV, which he submitted when he was requesting for the job of a what?
Vice-Chancellor.
Vice-Chancellor. This was in 2017. 2001? 17. This is when he submitted this. But he became a professor. He was made a professor in 2013. Okay? So we want to see, I mean, even now he doesn't have them. But by 2013, to become a professor, he should have had the 10 articles and the 2 books
published.
10 and 2 books. And even to become a vice-chancellor, he needed to have the 10 peer-reviewed papers.
So how did he become a professor without all that?
That is the problem now, which I want the court of public opinion, former members of Makerere, to ask the question, how does a man who does not have the 10 peer-reviewed publications and 2 books by a reputable publishing house according to the statute of the National Council for Higher Education, how does that man become a professor? That is why we are having so many of the problems at Makerere, because we have a bichupuli professor. Now, allow me, please, I need you to know, be very exacting on this issue. You see, many people have been deceived. And I know many people know, but they are afraid to call the emperor. You know, sometimes there is that saying that says the emperor has no what? Clothes. Then there's, oh, Mr. Emperor, your clothes are... Kumbe, the man is what?
He's naked.
And it was a young child who wasn't afraid, who told him, man, you don't have clothes, you are naked. Mr. Nawangwe does not have the papers to be called a professor. I want to show you diligently. This is the CV. It is online. I want to take you now to page. This CV is available. I'm going to give it to you. Put it in the links to our what? To our audience. But when you look down, 19.0 is the publications, page 56. So you go to page 56. Which is, I'm pulling it up, it's over here. Now, page 56, this is what it says.
All right, page 56.
Page 56, publications. Now listen how he fattens his CV. You know there's what's called bull fattening. Bull fattening is where a bull which is not really even proper to be called a bull. The Banyankore have, when you're going to go to the market to sell an old cow, if you want to make it look very exciting and energetic, one of my Munyankore friends told me, you feed it hot pepper. when an old lazy, cow eats hot pepper, it stands up. The tail sticks out as if it is the strongest bull. Then you pay a lot of money for it in the market. But by the time you arrive home, you realize this is not the bull you wanted to go in the kraal.
Yes.
So, this is what he says. The following are some of the publications, either in journals, books, or peer-reviewed conferences arising out of my research work. Let's first start over there. Conferences are not peer-reviewed.
Yes.
It is papers which are peer reviewed. Now you see, it takes a smart person to say, wait a minute.
Walan.
Wait. You see, this man thinks that we are all Wagawan. Okay? What do you want for us, man? A conference is not a peer reviewed. It is the paper that is public peer reviewed, and it is in a journal. Now, there are 44 citations.
Yeah, I see.
You've seen them, eh?
Yeah, there are 40.
And I'm going to read for you from the first one. Now, usually when you write your CV, you always start with your strongest point, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Because you want to give a good impression.
You have to come off strong.
Yes, I've ever done so and so, I've ever written so and so. And those things should actually be even in public domain. Now, the first one is a philosophy and a vision of African architectural education. Now, read what is there.
A paper presented to the heads of African Schools of Architecture Conference.
Very
Lagos,
good.
1991.
Okay, just go back again. It is a paper. Say with me.
A paper
presented
to the heads
to the people. And what is it? Conference. At a what?
At a conference.
Remember
in Lagos.
Remember that the Makerere University's policy told us that you cannot use
conference papers because it's work in progress.
No, it is not.
But what do they mean by work in progress?
That means that you present the paper at the university, at the conference. Then after you've given it, if the people there are professors, they give a debate. They say, turn this paper, improve it this way, do this and that. You put those things. Then you submit it again to experts in the field. Then they give it back to you, and then you submit it to a journal.
What if this went through the same procedure that you've just described?
No, then you would have cited that this paper was published in the Lancet magazine. By the way, I want to look up, by the way, anybody can look up. Can you look up what are the top 10 or top 20 publication journals?
Okay.
As you do that, let me continue reading. But look up the top 10 journals in architecture.
Okay.
Because those are the ones he would be citing. Next, number 2, urban design and housing. A course manual for master of physical planning. Now, this is a pamphlet. It is not a publication by a publishing house. It is a manual. Because you would say, okay, urban design and housing, course manual, published by Longman, published by Fountain Publisher, published by Penguin, published by, even if it's a Russian publishing house, put the Russian, but no, there is no publishing house. Number 3, land tenure systems and development controls in East African countries. A paper presented at and published the proceedings of 21st Congress, World Housing Congress, Cape Town, May 93. Again, another paper presented at a conference. Number 4, learning from vernacular. A paper presented at a conference. Number 5, environmental response in architecture. A paper presented and published in the proceedings of international conference. So the first are papers from the conferences. Then when you go down, maybe you can say, okay, we have Vernacular Architecture Series, a publication on research in the vernacular architecture by Makerere University Department of Architecture. But that one, again, it is not a peer-reviewed publication.
Because it didn't indicate it.
It didn't indicate it. Neither is it from a journal. Okay, you can say, okay, if it is a journal, you can cite a journal so and so. Now, from 8 to 14, he has these pamphlets, ancient palaces of Buganda. Then he has mud houses of Gisu, traditional Ganda homestead 1, Ganda homestead 2, Rubare homestead 3, Teso homestead. Now, I'm not putting this down, but these are pamphlets.
Yeah.
But they are not peer-reviewed. There is no publishing house. You don't even have a year. You don't have a publisher. Okay? These are not books. So even when you continue going back, 18, a paper, Cultural Heritage in Modern Housing, a paper presented at international conference. That is number 18. 19, Boundary Walls as a reaction to insecurity, a paper presented at a conference in Beirut. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
Let's jump to the last 10. Because you see, you can get a sample and then you look, okay, even the middle. Let's go in the middle. 31.
Okay.
The role of urban agriculture in provision of housing, Kampala, a paper presented at housing conference. These are all papers mostly at a housing, at conferences, okay? They are works in progress. Let's read the last 5. Okay, we've read the first 4. Let's read the last 5. So the last 5 is this. 40, challenges and opportunities for academia led clusters program, paper presented at this conference, TCI conference, December 11, 2011.
New Zealand.
41, convergence of tradition and modernity in the architecture of Kampala, a paper present visionary artwork, Kampala conference, September 12, 2012. Do you see that? 42, between global and regional visions, way forward on East Africa. Paper presented at regional conference on architecture, Nairobi, 2012. 43, opportunities and challenges of cluster-based competitiveness. A paper presented at a conference in Abuja, 2012. The last one, 44, the role of academia in advancing renewable energy in Uganda. A paper presented at Africa-EU Partnership Dialogue Conference, December 2022.
And this is not relevant to the field.
This is not journals.
Okay.
These are not journals.
These are pamphlets.
These are pamphlets. These are papers presented at conferences. And according to the law of the university, these are works in progress. So we have someone at Makerere who is not qualified to either be a professor or even a vice-chancellor. Now, you may say pastor is annoyed. By the way, you see, until you get annoyed about something, you will just leave it. I have one of my pastor friends says, Anyiga yarwana. Have you ever seen people fighting if they are not annoyed?
No.
No, they don't have time. They're doing other things. Until Nawangwe annoyed me enough by shutting down our church. Until Nawangwe annoyed me enough suspending professors. Until Nawangwe annoyed me enough by shutting down prime time. And that's when I said, but what kind of man is this? What kind of education did he get? Because I would have never thought in my mind that I would have to look at his CV. But I looked at his CV. Nawangwe does not have the papers to be called a professor. So the whole thing is riddled. You see, we have recently it was I was reading in the newspapers, and I saw that the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, she gave a quotation. She says that many in Uganda, she says we have a problem in the country. This is what she said. I quoted her here. She says, that is on November 26. She says, we have an economy that is run at best by mediocres and at worst people who are not qualified. We have fake doctors, fake teachers everywhere who have NASA road papers. And she says this is the reason why there's many buildings that collapse.
Because the people that are doing the work are not qualified.
They're not qualified. Mr. Barnabas, you see, I used to call him Professor Barnabas Nawangwe. I am telling everybody, please stop calling Barnabas Nawangwe a professor. He is not. What? He is not qualified to be a professor. You see, there was whatever system was used to fatten him. As you can see, I've read for you the CV of Nawangwe. It does not have the requirements. By the way, the thing about education, you either have the papers or you don't.
Yeah, you're either in or out.
I'm going to show you that you can go now to the website of Makerere University. Because I wrote a letter to Makerere University through my lawyer. And I said, can you please give us the publications of Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe? Okay? I'm going to, let me bring my laptop. I'm going to show you how, when you look at the website of Makerere University itself, you cannot find the papers of Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe. But that if you say that I'm hiding, you cannot write papers and then help me with that laptop. You cannot write papers and then you say I don't have them, because publishing is putting something in public domain. Okay?
Yes.
It is putting something in public what?
Domain.
In public domain.
But Pastor, you see, if you I've tried to do a research, to search about one of the papers. The one called Between Global and Regional Visions, the way forward to East African cities. It it shows that UN Digital Repository actually has it in their archives. Yes.
Can you go and see it?
Yeah.
Because I tried to go it and the URL ended.
Oh, it's not there.
Show it to the, when you press it, when you press it, you go to the thing. It is not there. It is not there.
Oh, they're saying, please contact the site administrators if you wish to report this error.
You see, we have a problem. Because you see, you cannot be the vice-chancellor of a university. Okay? And we cannot see your papers in your university. But let's go to the website of the university. I want to show you that you yourself can search the website of Makerere University. Okay? So are you, do you have your camera to come and see what I'm doing? Okay. So I'm going to show you. Here's the website. It's www.makula.mak.sc.ug. Okay. Then there is the /880. Okay. Now, when you search in there and you look out for Mr. This is, by the way, this is public. Okay. This is public domain. You search for Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe. Okay? You look for Barnabas Nawangwe. When you look at Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe's papers, here you are. You come up with, I want to show you. This is what you come up with, Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe. 4 hits. This is in the university, in Makerere. I'm going to do a comparison. We will look at other professors. Let's say Sylvia Tamale, who I don't like for her, the other LGBT, but she's an academic. I'm going to bring her. So here's Mr. Nawangwe's hit. When you look at his university, this is, by the way, Makerere is a national depository. Yes. If you have published any book, like I just published my book, I had to take a copy over there. So it is there. When you search for me, my book should be there. Now, here you go, you look at Mr. Barnabas. There is only 4 entrances that come up. Number 1, this is Barnabas Nawangwe, 27 to date. This one is about him being what? One of the professors.
So it's just a link over.
A link that shows who have been the vice-chancellors. Pelu Opio, Sebu Ufu, Luobi 204, 209, Sentamu, and then Barnabas Nawangwe 2017, up to date. That's what you see on the first hit. Then you go back and look at the second one. Makerere, the second one is Makerere University status report. This is not a paper. It is a status what? Report. Okay, we've admitted 100 students and 4 have passed and what? That is not an academic thing. Then you come to number 3, a research report on land tenure and administrative issues in Kampala City, Barnabas Nawangwe and Augustus Nwagaba. This is a research report, not a paper, but a what?
A research report.
Report. Now, if you want to form that into a paper, still, it's a research report. Number 4, appointment. This is a news clip. Appointment of Barnabas as Vice-Chancellor. So the only thing academic here, what you see, is this research report. And this is where the Vice-Chancellor. Then when you look and say, okay, let's look at, do we have, let's say, publications of Sylvia Tamale? In the same what? In the same portal. Does she have books? Does she have, what does she have? So, I mean, let's see, publishing from the date oldest. You can add this one. Oldest. Nawangwe, you still come up with 4. Even if you say from old, you change the years. But now when you come up to Sylvia Tamale. Sylvia Tamale. Okay, so you search Sylvia Tamale. Okay, here you are. You can see that we have Understanding Sexuality in Uganda, Challenges. Publisher, Makerere University Faculty of Law. Okay. So there is a book there. And she says it's a faculty of law. Then she has another one, Homosexuality Perspective from Uganda. Publisher, Sexual Minorities Uganda, SMAG. Okay, 7 copies available. Decolonization and Afrofeminism. Publisher, Daraja Press, 2020. You can hear such and such press. Fountain Press. Okay, then you come down. African Sexualities, a reader. Okay, 4 copies. Who is the publisher? Pambazuka Press. Now, when you have someone like that, you can say, okay, the papers are there. Then you can compare to a former
Vice-Chancellor. Let's look
John
at
Sentamu.
John Sentamu.
John Sentamu. Is it John Sentamu? Dumba. Right? Sentamu Dumba. I think. Is it double D? Dumba. Okay. Okay, there we go. So when you come up with relevance, okay, we'll just say relevance. Here we are. The role of commercial banks in deposit mobilization. 1 copy is available. Basic Economics for East Africa, Concept Analysis Application, John Dumba Center. Publisher, Fountain Publishers.
Okay.
Yes! Finally, we can see
that there is substance.
That there is substance. But there is nothing when you look at Mr. Nawangwe.
Okay.
So, it is my observation that until Nawangwe comes out and presents his academic papers, there is no reason why we should call him, number 1, a professor, and number 2, there is no reason why he should be the Vice-Chancellor of Makerere. And the whole process that was used to put him as a Vice-Chancellor must be investigated. But until the relevant bodies that are supposed to do that right work, we, the court of public opinion, we must, when he shows up, we should shun him. He's not a member of the intellectual class. Enough for me now when Nawangwe comes, I just get up and go. He does not have the papers. Don't call him professor. You are adding, you know, like these transgenders of boys, girls who think they are boys. Don't call a girl a boy.
So Nawangwe is impersonating?
He's impersonating as a member of the academic class. He's not a professor. He doesn't have the papers. Because what we need to see and question, you were made a professor in 2013. Where are your 10 peer-reviewed articles? And where are your 2 books by a reputable book company? These are Makerere.
Pastor, you see, you have a great cause to call out Nawangwe, but I think maybe the attention should be more on the people that made him who he is today, in my opinion, because now it's the system we need to question. How was it possible that Nawangwe is in that office without necessarily having the right credentials?
You see, things happen in Uganda, but when we find them, we help the president. You see, even the president may not know. that the person who claims to be a professor is not a professor. Okay? Sometimes committees are compromised. Okay, you have the University Council, which is supposed to have done this. I'm like, my God, where was the University Council? Because you see, the University Council, when you look up at the University Council, which appointed and reappointed Nawangwe, okay, you have Lorna Magara, okay, my good friend. She's a fellow born again. You have other members of that committee. Okay, you have Bruce Kabasa. Okay, he's a member of that committee. You have people from convocation, those are OBs. You have someone from public service. You have someone from Ministry of Finance. You have a student from Makerere. You have a member of the chaplaincy, usually from St. Francis. You have someone representing from Wasa. Now, that committee, because you have two things. You see, Mr. Kabasa, Bruce Kabasa, was involved. I think he was part of the being on the committee, on the University Council. There is a subcommittee that deals with human resource. Those are the ones that confirm you that be promoted and become a professor. I think he's part of that group. He needs to be asked.
Exactly.
Mr. Bruce Kabasa, you who was overseeing the human resource and the promotion people to professor, how did you affirm? Where are the papers? You see, for me, I am willing to recant and apologize. You see, this is the matter of intellectuals. Intellectuals who, when you publish, there are things in public domain. Bring my book, my son. When there are things in public domain, they're in public domain. There are even what is called an ISBN.
Yes, that's how you find the book.
Okay?
Yes.
You have an ISBN.
That's how you found the
So
book.
I went even to the Uganda Road, the people who provide ISBN. I said, do you have an ISBN in the names of Professor Nawangwe, of Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe? And they did not have any single ISBN which was given to Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe.
Okay.
And so because of that, we are having someone who is letting or passing as if he knows that he's a what? That is a professor. Now, this is my book that I am about to launch. Okay? Why Are You Gay? Africa's Resistance to Homosexuality. 600 pages, peer-reviewed. Okay?
Oh.
Yeah. By professors.
Hey, Pastor, you are mine.
Yeah. Now, but when you look behind, you have an ISBN. You can tell when you click that, it takes you to my number, which is registered here in Uganda. Okay? I asked people, is there a number for Mr. Nawangwe? Okay? Let me have that. Give me that phone. Give me that phone. Because I want to read for people what ISBN means. ISBN is an acronym for International Standard Book Number.
A 13-digit number that uniquely
So
identifies
if we
books
say
and-
that Nawangwe must have published 2 books, there should be 2 numbers. Numbers don't lie.
Definitely.
Kati, you see how we had a problem. The vice president during the days of what was her name? The Mrs. Speciosa Wandera Kaziwe. Okay, Mrs. Kaziwe. She told us that she had dug valley dams in Karamoja. But a person with normal eyes could not see the valley dams.
So who could see?
And it ended up being that they named some place here in Cape Town, Gaba. You know, for you are new, I think you call it, what do you call it? Munyonyo.
Yeah.
For us, we call it Cape Town. Now, in Cape Town, there emerged the place where they were building. They called it the Valley Dam. So, I mean, a valley dam is a what? A valley dam. You can go and see the thing.
Yes.
And the cows can drink water from the valley dam.
Yes.
And when it rains, water gathers in the what?
The valley
dam. We can see that it is a work that was done. It is not something that is written in the semantics. A publication.
Yes, sir.
A publication, by definition, to publish is to put into public domain. And please, you didn't hear that one. Look up the definition of publication. I help you over there because you may not know. To publish
is to put in public domain.
Is to put an academic, literally piece of work into public domain. So when you go and you search Mr. Nawangwe's papers, and you say...
So publish is when a publisher offers the author a contract and in turn prints, publishes and sells your book through booksellers and other retailers.
Very good. And but in academia, please write to publish in academia is to put into public domain. We are looking for Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe's academic work, and it is not there. We are looking for the reputable company. Now, okay, while you are doing that, can you help me, please? Can you look up what are the reputable journals? Because Mr. Barnabas's area of expertise is what? Architecture. So there should be papers that are published in those, because you see, the Lancet magazine, Lancet is for health, okay? Medicine, public health, public policy, public health. That's Lancet magazine. That is in England, okay?
Yes.
It's a top-notch publishing magazine. Now, when you look up, I can look up.
Here we have there's Journal of Building.
Okay, so when you look up, it is easy. It is easy because you see, in these days where everybody has access to the internet, you can look at what are top journals in architecture, academia, and practice. Okay? So when you look up top journals in academia, okay, top 15 journals in academia, we have amongst those.
What do you have?
Let me use top 25 journals and magazines. No, that's to subscribe. No, I want a top 15 journals in academia. Okay? So, top 15 journals in academia, where we would expect our vice-chancellor. One is design studies.
Yes.
Research in engineering and design.
Journal of Building Engineering.
Journal of Engineering, Construction, Architectural Management. Geotechnical, Geological Engineering. Okay? Indexation, JCR. Okay? You move forward. Structural design of tall and special building. Construction and innovation. Journal of Architectural Engineering. Now, Journal of Building Performance Simulation. Tom Gongso Zebao, China Civil Engineering Journal. Architectural Science Review. International Journal of Architectural Heritage. Okay, let us give it to him. Let's add Russia. Okay? Let's say he went to school in the Soviet Union. And then you have Russia. Okay? Top journals in Russia of architecture. Russian Journal of Building and Architectural Architecture. There is one. No, but we didn't see. Did you see anything like Russian Journal? No, we have a serious problem. We have a serious problem.
Yes, so, but Pastor, let's say that the information you've unearthed is picked up by authorities that be, and then tomorrow Nawangwe is fired. Do you think all the problems that you've mentioned will go away?
Oh no, I don't think so, but at least we will have a new beginning. Because when you look at the status of Makerere University, it's run like a mafia. It runs on fear. There is no longer the ability to put up veritable debates. This is not the great Makerere that I used to know. You know, our anthem, eh? By the way, you need to know, Nawangwe did not go to Makerere.
Where did he go?
So he cannot say our university.
Where did he go?
He went to the University of Ukraine Polytechnic. This is, let me bring up his thing. His CV. Nawangwe went to the University of Kiev. Okay? So 1980, Kiev National University of Construction and Architecture, which was Kiev Institute.
So he has no
He went to
spirit
the
of patriotism.
Institute of Civil Engineering. That's where he went to school.
So taina moyo gwa Makerere.
No, he doesn't know. You look, Makerere is way, and Krumo, and North Koto, and Michozo. You know, Makerere, when you see someone who has gone to Makerere, they have life, they have the ability to stand up to authority. They can challenge. This is why I am the one speaking. The ones graduating now at Makerere, do you think they can even challenge things? They have the biggest password at Makerere is submission. You see, Nawangwe has deceived, okay, the establishment that I am able to control Makerere as from political opposition. I am therefore working to silence anyone who appears like they have dissent. Now, not everything has to do with political opposition. It can be policy opposition. It can be ideological opposition. That is the root of the basis of contestation of ideas. Democracy in which we are in, one of the cardinal rules is the ability for freedom of speech and the contestation of ideas. Like for me, and when you see me with Andrew Mwenda, Twitwala, when you see me with Isaac Semakade, we debate. I have respect for him, he has respect for me. So the Nawangwe never went to Makerere. So he does not know when we sing Makerere, Makerere, we build for the future, the great Makerere. Ani? The great.
Makerere.
The what?
The
great. This is not the great Makerere. This is the lesser Makerere, not even lesser. In the great Makerere, students are not hungry. In the current Makerere, students are starving. In the great Makerere, there is freedom of speech. We used to have debates at Maiza at when Professor Mamdani, Professor Nsibambi, okay? Then Professor Dumba, Professor, I would have Dungu. Dungu taught me political sociology. Now, these we would get together and they nebetwala. Even the paper you have written, these ideas, is not worth these ideas are pathetic. You are wasting our papers. Nebetwala. It was such a great time. It wasn't meaning that they hated each other. It was the capacity to debate ideas. You see, intellectuals, even when we don't eat food, these are people who love intellectual debates because the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of understanding of how things work, of history, of science, even architecture, of how construction, of everything. In a liberal arts university, you create freedom.
But that's not unique. The change of the tides from the debate and to the cold shoulders and peace and conforming to the mold is not unique to only Makerere University. You notice that...
Whatever, but I have to say, Nigeria, when you see the Nigerians, you see the confidence Nigerians have, their discipline, their orderly. You mess with them, you know you're dealing with a Nigerian. You show up at a restaurant, in a hotel, you're making noise. The Nigerian will tell you to be in order. What I cry is, I ask myself, we are entering East African community. How will Ugandan graduates compete with their Kenyans, Rwandese, Tanzanian, Sudan counterparts? We are entering, I mean, even now in the city of Kampala, people would rather employ Kenyans, especially in higher level management jobs. You go to any hotel now, you go to banks, who do you find there? Kenyans.
Mostly.
Why? They are producing them with the capacity of self-confidence. The old school of Sempas, us, Mao, Nobat, Kulaije, okay, the late Jacob Oulanya, that is the last of the giants. And I'm saying, no, we cannot watch our university perish. We need to make Makerere great again. In the Great Makerere, people eat chikoko in the morning. I mean, bread and butter in the morning, chikoko for lunchtime, and then they eat chinyama for supper. They are intellectuals. They are not worried about being thrown out of school. We need to undo the privatization of the university.
Where should that start? Undoing the privatization?
It starts here. It starts by showing what the university has become since privatization. When you look at around Makerere, most of the students live outside the university. That university was designed for 5,000 students at most. Okay? Right now it's accommodating all of it, 40,000 students. It's overwhelmed by numbers. Professors are overwhelmed. We are not talking about a university of global ranking. If you go to Mitchell, you find that the lecture is taking place in Mitchell Dining Hall. What kind of university is that?
Why? Do they have lecture rooms?
Exactly. Because they allowed and admitted thousands of students because of the desire for privatization, which overrode their desire for academic quality. You see, if the university exists to make money, it is like the taxi matatu. Mubajuze kameme, mubajuze. And then you have the assets of that university. We have land in Kololo. Some of it is being chopped up. We have 2 square miles of land in Chankwanzi, which could have been used to grow food, to feed the hungry students. Nawangwe is doing nothing. We have land in Gomba, about 300 acres. We're not using it. People are taking over land. Everybody, you know, when the railway corporation was privatized, people began to chop up houses in Jinja, houses here, because railway used to own assets. So now you have people who are being appointed over Makerere, and they are not looking at their responsibility for the academic advancement of our young people, but they are looking at it as an opportunity to what?
Steal and eat.
Eat. So they need to hear a voice of a pastor. You see, normally it has always been that the voices of dissent from Makerere are either disgruntled professors or students who sometimes identify with opposition. Me, I am NRM. Okay? Privately, everybody has their own party. I have an NRM party. I'm a supporter of NRM. But you never see me wearing yellow because I want to create an atmosphere where even others can come. But if you ask me, Pastor Semper, where is your political leanings? Me, I'm from the original movement. And I even disputed as an academic the imposition of these political parties because it was not going to help us. These political parties were imposed by the World Bank again. But His Excellency President Museveni had even written a book on the Africa's problems, on the dangers of political parties. People focus more on winning the next election instead of socio-economic progress. So I want to say that this time it is a pastor who has come out. And it's not even opposition, because they always say, opposition, yes, these are disgruntled this one. No, I don't even want Nawangwe's job. I don't want a job in Makerere. Even the issue of the church. I don't want to have a church when Nawangwe is the Vice-Chancellor. No. That is like Templar. What is the name of your podcast?
On the boat podcast.
On the boat. Let me tell you, Makerere University, the cry I'm making is like the cry of the people who are crying out when the Templar, around 2018, there was this party goers who went 2017, 2018.
Balance the boat.
And they were saying, balance the boat. But the boat was unfortunately badly redesigned. It was a fishing boat which was being turned into a party boat.
Cruise.
Then the man had actually done 2 things. He had put a water tank for toilets on top of the what? The boat. But that tank was badly positioned. Number 2, in using of creating flour, he had even used cement. You don't use cement when you are creating flowers for what? for the boat.
Boat.
So people kept saying that boat is going to sink. That boat is going down. That balance the boat. Balance the boat could not balance.
It's very sad, but
We, as long as Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe is the captain of the boat called Makerere University,
it can't be balanced.
we are going down.
Okay.
I may annoy people.
But Pastor, I actually think, contrary to that, it's the systems that need to be changed. Because even if Nawangwe left today, and tomorrow someone else came with similar systems, the same things will happen.
Yes, we need to have change. You see, there's what's called post-mortem. Why I'm asking what is important is who authorized in 2013, because you see, when you do a post-mortem, you find out what was the cause of death of that person. We are asking what was the cause that has led Makerere into this place. This is it, 2013. Who authorized him
To be in office.
to be in office?
think that's why
to be called a professor, because we have two inquiries to do. Who authorized Nawangwe without the 10 papers and 2 books by recognized public to be called a what? A professor, as required by the National Council for Higher Education. Number 2, who authorized Nawangwe in 2017 to become a vice-chancellor when he did not have the 10 peer-reviewed papers? Did they even know how to gauge a peer-reviewed paper? Because that's the question to ask. You can find people and they are not academic.
So Nawangwe is not to blame.
No, he's to blame.
It's the system.
No, when you pass out that you have a degree which you don't have, when you pass out that you have, today I saw that civil aviation, they are doing investigation on their papers.
Yes.
On their papers.
Yes.
Even Nawangwe has had the audacity of firing some professors and some people because he said they didn't have the right papers. Can you imagine?
I can't.
Can you imagine?
I can't.
So no, but to me, you see, to be, there was in the days of colonialism in Kenya, I think it was, there was one of the tribes which were cattle keepers who owned the land in the highlands. And the white people wanted that land. Okay? And so they moved all those Kenyans. I think the tribe was Bokora. And they moved them into some concentration camps. And he would feed them posho whenever they were like taken care of like refugees. It became like Nachivale or Chiriandongo, you know, a refugee concentration camp. Now, one of the anthropologists who was working there, I think this poem is cited by John S. Mbiti, who I love very much. He's a great writer in African religions. And the poem was cited recording a poem spoken by one of the elders of the Bokora. And I'm going to paraphrase it. He said, "We are not Bokora. The people you see here, they are not Bokora. These that you see, these are maskinis, eating muchangas.
Malnourished people.
Malnourished, skinny, like walking skeletons. We are not Bokora." And then he said, second paragraph, what does it mean to be a Bokora? To be a Bokora is to have cows, is to provide for your wives, not wife, your wives, milk, meat, ghee, blood, because they eat blood. It is to have your daughters and wives bathe in ghee and milk.
Give them perfect skin
Julia.
complexions. Yeah.
He says, these are not Bokora. The real Bokora, they are up in the mountains looking after their cows. Now, I read that poem. It's one of my best poems. And I cry. Because you see, in the midst of your great travail, you must never lose sight of who you really are and your greatness. Even if colonialism reduces you to these skeletons of what you once were. You see, when you look at Makerere, it's like those Bokora in concentration camps. You look where students are sleeping. You look at the hunger. By the way, when you walk around Makerere, many of the young people in Makerere, they are thin, like sticks. And it's not only Makerere, Chambogo. They're thin. One of the great sources of their food are these Lugubara women who come and sell maize in the evenings. That's all they can afford. Why? The kitchens were closed down. The university decided that we will no longer focus on the welfare of the students we have, but that we will focus only on teaching because that's where we make money. Wow. The kitchens were shut down. You go to Mitchell Hall. It's such a paradox. I cry. The dining hall where students sit down and talk over food and they're able to express and build a community where this and that. It closed down. The great kitchen that was built underground by the colonialists where you move the food up to serve the students. It stopped years ago. It's filled with cobwebs. It is assumed that some of the students eat air. As if they eat air. They don't. That's not the great Makerere. And so in the spirit of that poem, I said, this is not the great Makerere, Francis. Because in the great Makerere, our women in Africa, in Mary Stewart, in CCE, they eat chigati and butter in the morning. They bathe in yogurt and milk.
In honey.
And they look good. But what are women? You can even, before you go, I want you to talk to a border man around the university. Ask them, how much does it cost to buy a campus girl? They will tell you a Rolex. Girls sleep with boys so they can get accommodation or food. When I began this issue of food campaign, I found that girls were saying, look, don't be surprised if we sell our body. Boys will tell you, girls are starving. How can we reduce the brightest and the best brains of our university to this? And so it was in starting to fight for the students' hunger issue. Because on the other, that issue, I discovered that sometimes the government releases money. For example, 300 billion. Remember, the money is paid by students into consolidated fund. 35,000 are private students. 5,000 are the government students. So really, government money is very small. But that money of the 35,000, part of it is what the government uses to fund the 5,000.
Yeah.
But that money is not released in time. But sometimes it's released.
So why is it not released in time?
No, not all of it, but it is really. For example, they ask for 300 billion. I was looking at the financial year 2018-2019. They asked for about 300 billion. They were 350. They were given 300. Now, out of that money, Nawangwe should have made a policy that the first thing we do is life-saving provision of food and housing to students. But no, it's busy renovating Mary Stewart, busy building the wall around the university, busy renovating this building, Lumumba. You see, because you can make money off of construction. You know how you do that? You're friends with the construction. You're friends with the construction company.
And you need a cut.
Yeah. And so Nawangwe puts emphasis on buildings before he puts emphasis on people.
Oh, that's
and
sad.
One of the things that I spoke to him, I said, Mr. Barnabas, you need to make sure that the first thing you do, even the Minister of Finance was surprised when the students went there. Take care of the students. They come. There was 3 boys from Karamoja. They were part of the group recently in October that was protesting in front of the university. Nawangwe And they were saying, look, we've been 3 months. We have not been given any money. We know we are on government. We know that we can't even pay. We have even loaned our phones. You know when you put your phone. The hostel...
The money lender. Use it as collateral.
So bad. So bad. For instance, I speak, the Bible says that those with influence should use it for the vulnerable.
Definitely.
And the oppressed. Nawangwe arrested those 3 boys. He threw them in the prison in Wandegea. I had to go and help get those boys out of Wandegea. And while they were in Wandegea, he wrote letters suspending them and throwing them out of their places. He says, you must leave the university now.
That's despicable.
These are boys from Kabong. Where are they going at 7:30 p.m.? Where would they go? I had to go in. I rented a house for those 3 boys and I gave them money for food. Then the next day, I went to the Uganda Law Society. I said, Mr. Semakade, we have a problem at Makerere. Semakade told me, I know I've had a long run-ins with Nawangwe. He's a dictator. He's an oppressor. Then he said, Nawangwe, I'm giving you 3 days. He says, Nawangwe, in the previous time, I was just a law firm. But now, with 4 lawyers. But now, I'm the president of Uganda Law Society with 5,600 lawyers. I'm going to deploy just 40. But I'm letting you know, if you don't unsuspend the students within 3 days, I'm going to personally sue you. Now, Nawangwe ran. Okay?
He panicked.
He did Katemba. He told the guild president, write to me and ask for me to forgive those students. No, I wrote to the guild president. I said, don't ask for forgiveness. We demand an apology.
From him.
We demand an apology from Nawangwe. In fact, Nawangwe should apologize to all of us. Makerere convocation. So he wrote a letter cancelling the suspension. He says, the guild president has written to me asking me to forgive these students. But I have forgiven them.
Did the guild president ask him?
He wrote, because he's one of his boys. See, Nawangwe has a mafia over there at Makerere, where everybody needs to bow down. Even for me to say Nawangwe must go, it is a statement of freedom. So I even put it on my T-shirt. Rita, I even did a hoodie. I'm going to show you my hoodies so that you can see. I will show it to you, then we can do I'm going to show you the hoodies of my T-shirt. My theme is Make Makerere Great Again. Just like Trump. MAGA. Yeah, we have our own MAGA. Mamaga. Make MAGA. Make Makerere Great Again.
Aren't you putting yourself in harm's way?
What?
Considering that you stated earlier on that Nawangwe is a dictator.
Yes, he is, and he has a chief.
And by doing this kind of thing, you're sort of like taking away, his bread and butter.
You see, at some point, a man must make a decision. I'm 56 years old now. I'm both Ugandan and American. I could go and work. By then, Nawangwe says Pastor Semba is looking for a job. Nawangwe makes 20 million shillings every month as a vice-chancellor. I told him I could make 60 million shillings driving a garbage truck in America. Please, I'm not looking for a job. But, so there are people who are dying now to go to America. My wife and I, we have invested $10 million of deferred income of salary to invest into the students at Makerere.
What does deferred salary mean? Like,
my profession, I have a bachelor's in political science and sociology. I have a master's of science in biblical counseling and psychological counseling. Double major. Okay? Yeah. And then and then the same college gave me a PhD. Yeah, help me with the hoodie and that. So when I did that, the hoodie, let's get the hoodie. When I did that, I was able to get Nawangwe. Oh, the hoodie is out of the laundry now. Okay, they are washing it. I'll go get it. I need to show it to them. So this is, over here is my T-shirt that says, Make Makerere
Great Again.
Great Again. This is my T-shirt. Yeah, you understand? I'll get the hoodie in a minute. But I'll show you the pictures. That's fine. Even on my car, I put the sticker. I want everybody to join us. But anyway, what was I saying? I was saying that
about the
the
deferred
fear,
salary.
at some point you
The
stop
deferred
being
salary part of it.
Yeah, I deferred. So if you're a psychologist, you make about $80 to $150 per hour.
80, okay.
80 to 150. If you're a licensed psychotherapist, psychologist, that's what my area of study. So when you are able, after you've worked for about 10 or 20 years, like we've spent 25 years, your income, your hour, per hour, you make like $100.
Wow.
Yeah, per hour. So if you work 8 hours, that's $800 a day. If you work 5 days a week, that is $4,000 a week. If you work four weeks, which is in a month, that's $20,000 a month. So then when you do that for 12 months, then you are looking, okay, let's say 10, because let's say you take out vacation. So let's say you take out vacation. So when you're making 20 times 10, that's 200,000. Okay?
US.
$200,000 a year, US dollars. So now double that, because my wife and I have the same degrees. That's $400,000. Now $400,000, we have served Makerere for 25 years. 25 years, not paid money, really working of our own to find a way of surviving, dealing with poverty, dealing with challenges. So 10 years at Makerere, that's $4 million. 20 years, that's $8 million. 25 years, that's $10 million. Do you understand that now? Now, that is without putting your money into a 401k, which grows stock options and stuff. But that's what we've invested. I would have expected that Mr. Barnabas Nawangwe would recognize the pedigree of Mr. and Mrs. Pastor Semper and the work we are doing at Makerere, at the prime time, at the pool, the investment that we are making, and come alongside and say, Pastor, how can we help you? Because you are doing a job that we can't do. We pulled out of welfare. You're providing welfare. You're helping people stop getting HIV. You're helping people getting from drugs. You're helping students to stay in class. You're helping them not to go out parties running around. You provide this counseling. We provide the student center and Saturday night event. Many people can testify over the last 25 years how our work was singularly a great addition to the academic work to help them navigate the university. And then you have someone like Nawangwe coming in, okay? He came in just before COVID, okay? And closed down our church. And after COVID, we said, look, we want to reopen. He's like, no.
You can't.
So I'm like, so I've been researching what kind of man is he? And so based on my education as an educated person from Makerere, from where?
Makerere.
Where I studied under professors, they taught us speak to change policy. We are not of the I don't have submitted genes in me. No. The genes in me are for justice.
True.
The genes in me are for how do we save the university? How do we make Makerere great again? So in January, I'm going to be starting 30 days of prayer and fasting. Because everything starts with prayer. People are like, Pastor Gendo Sabe. Yes, we are going to do pray and fast. But we must create awareness about this issue. I want to do a soup kitchen where hungry students can be able to be fed. And if you are there and you are able to donate food, posho, rice, meat, whatever, I'm going to be setting up a place where you can donate food so that a hungry student can come
And just eat.
And go to school.
Free, you know.
Free.
That's a good
And can even be mentored about the next steps of life. Number 3, I'd like people to make aware, wear the hoodie, put the t-shirt. Nawangwe must go. Make Makerere great again. Because you see, these are two simultaneous. Number 5, I'm making a suggestion of 100 policy positions, which I'm going to be giving. You know, there's an Education Review Commission. I'm going to write to the Education Review Commission, as well as the World Bank, because it's the one that imposed
the
this
privatization.
Yeah, but I'm going to be putting an education to the Education Review Commission, 100 policy changes at Makerere. Twasoma.
100 policy changes.
100 policy changes.
What's your focus?
No, to make Makerere great again. Now, privatization must be changed. We must reduce the numbers of students. We must open new campuses. We must stop any place which is dehumanizing. We must provide food for students again. The policy of abdicating student welfare by the university should be stopped. We need them to be involved. So the land of the university must be used for agriculture. Now, recently I heard that the president said, Nawangwe, it looks like you are not using that land. Can you give us that square mile? We settle the Balaro who are having problems in northern Uganda. Can you imagine? Students are hungry at Makerere. Nawangwe is not using the land. This is so bad. Nawangwe olimubi. Nawangwe must go. Nawangwe, you are so bad. Nawangwe, please. The best thing you can do for the new years or 2025 is to quietly pack your bags and go. But before you go, you must roll. To me, I told him he must roll from the main building. Begin rolling down the steps through Freedom Square, going down by Micho, okay? Between Nkrumah and Micho, rolling down through Wandegea and end up in the valley called Katanga.
Why?
And as he's rolling down, he must keep saying, Pastor Sempa, I'm such a bad man. Makerere people, I was such a bad man. How could I have pretended that I have these degrees? It was so bad of me to close down the church of God. Oh, may the voice of God follow him.
So in that case, you'll have become a dictator.
No, I'm not becoming a dictator. I'm praying for the justice of God. Because if you violate the law, the law says you cannot discriminate. You can't refuse people's freedom of worship for 3 years. Nawangwe is a bad man. Nawangwe Mubinyo. Mubinyo. I can't even say bad. He's bad. Jagala Chiwamvwe. Nawangwe, you are such a bad man. Bad man.
All right. So, Pastor, this has been a very insightful conversation, but I need to ask you one question as we close. What's the end to this? What are you driving towards to achieve at the end? I know you want to make Makerere great again, but then what's the ultimate goal?
I think our people don't know. I think people are ignorant. People think that everything is okay at Makerere. There is a difference between perception and reality. In my tribe, Baganda, we have a saying that bakuma rubugo rubale mubbe, which means you just have the hardware. The software was what?
Was
taken away. So in the same thing with Makerere, people have this perception that they are like the Bokora, drinking milk. Their women are bathing in yogurt. Students are just focusing on the land. So
it's just a facade.
It's a facade. We must stop turning our best students into urban refugees in the middle of our city, Kampala. No, I want to see Makerere made great again.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Is that your last message?
That's my last message. And you can support me. Those of you who are there, you can support me. Of course, Nawangwe has his thugs. They're always trying to decampaign me, trying to discredit me. But I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for our future. So if you're there, you would like to support this work so that we can be able to go. I would love to put up billboards. Nawangwe must go. I would like to publish stickers. Nawangwe must go. I'd like to publish T-shirts. Nawangwe must go. I would like to feed students who have been made hungry by Nawangwe. Yeah. So you can give a contribution towards this. Be part of the campaign. Get the sticker. Stick it up. Call Nawangwe. Nawangwe must go. Call the president. Go. Take action. Take action. Sign a petition, my God, somewhere. You know how they do in America? Yeah. Even you ask now, the one thing is call Nawangwe's number and just say, Mr. Nawangwe, can you show us evidence that you have the 10 peer-reviewed papers and the 2 books? It is very simple.
So, Pastor, you're confidently saying that whatever you presented is factual, in that if he comes to sue, you're ready to take him on.
I am ready. Look, I've gone to the university. I've gone. Didn't we go together to the university website?
Yeah, we did.
If Nawangwe had those papers, they would have been there. I mean, I don't have personal problems. If Nawangwe had the academic papers, I would not be saying the thing. But we've not seen them. I don't like being deceived. Like Bebe Cool the other day was saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to bring some great music. I have such good artwork. I'm like, what? I listened to the song. I'm like, what? Pathetic. Pathetic. I don't like being deceived. I don't like being mediocre. Nonsense. I come from the great Makerere. I'm proud to be a member of Uganda's intellectual class. There are some of us who are trained well. You will not deceive us, Imanyambo. Peer-reviewed conference papers.
Guys.
We will end up with a song. Makerere, Makerere, we build for the future, the great Makerere, great, great and mighty, the walls all around you, great, great and mighty, the walls besides thee. Hey Makerere, hey Makerere, we build for the future, the great Makerere. Hey Makerezo, hey Makerezo, hey Makerezo, hey Winningo,
hey Winningo,
hey Nawangwe must go,
hey Nawangwe must
fake
go.
professors must go. Hey, winning go. Hey, making Makerere great again. No. Hello.
Oh man, that was a good sign now. I don't think I need to add anything onto that. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this insightful conversation. My name is Francis Mukule, and should you have any comments, please share them in the comment section. It's from me to you, Pastor Sempa, and we shot this particular episode from his studios here. And Pastor Sempa, I'd love to say that we are again grateful.
Let them cut
for you,
the pieces and
for you letting us. Yes,
let them also
please
help.
cut.
Hey, Pastor Sempa is asking you.
Mubusale sale.
Mubusale sale. Mubuteka ku TikTok.
Mutambuze ku TikTok.
Mubutambuze. Until the right person gets the
to
message.
See the message. Yes. All right, guys. See you then. Until we meet again. Peace.
Whoa! We don't come in peace. We come for violence.
All right, until we meet again. Whoa.